online people, you guys are able to see my screen, right? And hear me clearly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So how is everyone? Did you guys go and look at like what is joins? Did you guys practice join questions? Or you guys know what is basics of join right now? You guys know how joins are working. We are yet to write queries on joins. And these are not complicated. Like we'll be writing same query again and again. It's just that only once it is new for you. That's why it is taking time. Otherwise, it will be like same and same query again and again. Okay. So I hope you guys went through the SQL or the join session or the recording, right? Because that is very basic. Everyone should go through that video in order to understand what join is basically doing. And there were four types of joins which we discussed: left join, right join, inner join, outer join. Okay. I mean, let's just recap few things, right? I'll just take 5 minutes to recap all those things, all the three things which we discussed yesterday or the last day. First thing was data normalization. I'll go quickly here because you guys already know these things. So first was data normalization. Why we need to have different tables, right? We can have a single table and that will also work, which is technically correct, but this will be highly inefficient. So we'll be having different tables. Every table will serve a distinct and unique purpose. Okay, that is the normalization. Next thing, if there are different tables, there are different types of tables. One is fact and one is dimension table. Dimension table will consist of the descriptive attributes or the qualitative attributes. For example, name, last name, all those things for a customer table. For product, it will be a brand name, description, price, product, or the weight, all those things. Fact table consists of a quantitative values or quantitative attributes, which is, for example, a sales table, orders table, shipping tables, right? These are the numerical values in it on which we want to do our analysis. So these were the two tables which we discussed. And then there were primary keys and foreign keys which are available on these. So quick question: primary key is only available in, I mean, not only available. Dimension table has which key? Dimension table have primary key, correct? For and fact table which will have which key? Foreign key, correct? Fact table can also have a primary key. I'm just saying, but if a foreign key is there, that means the primary key of that is in the dimension table. The foreign key, if it is in a product, for example, product ID is a foreign key, that means the primary of that key is in some of the dimension table. Date is a foreign key. Date is a primary key in the dimension. Product ID is a foreign key, and product ID is a primary key in the dimension. And we connect primary to foreign key only in our joins. There cannot be more than one primary key in dimension table. There's a reason why that is known as primary, right? And primary keys cannot repeat also. They will be distinct and unique. Okay. Foreign key, on the other hand, they can repeat. The same example, if I go to a store, I buy a Cadbury, someone else also can go to a store and buy the same Cadbury, right? And then there will be two rows of that product ID being sold. And that's why they can be duplicates in the fact table. But in the customer table, if I was given an ID 1, no one else can have an ID of 1 because ID 1 describes me. Okay. Then we talked about the joints, different types of joints. Let's start with inner join first. So there were two concepts, matching and non-matching, right? Inner join means only the matching rows from both the tables, only the matching ones. Left join will mean matching rows from both the tables and unmatching from the left table. Please. So yeah, left table will mean matching rows from both the tables and unmatching rows from the left table. Right table, right join will mean matching rows from both the table plus unmatching rows from the right table. Full outer join will mean matching rows from both the tables and unmatching rows also from both the tables. Okay, right. So today's uh, join is basically that's it. So you will join, and there is no advanced concept in that particular join, but there are additional things which will come in join. For example, you join the two tables and calculate another column. It will always be something like this. You join the table, which is very easy, which you will easily do. And there is no advanced topic. No advanced questions can be created. But how it will become advanced is you join the two tables and create an additional column. So creating that additional column is the advanced topic. And we'll be discussing mostly today's topic on how to create new columns. What are the new functions which are available, uh, which we can take help of. Okay. So first we'll just do this basic join, and then we'll jump on to the functions which are available. So it says there are two tables. Let's look at the schemas of two tables. Let's say this is one city table, and this has ID in it, name of the city, country code, district, and population. Correct? Then there is a country table in it. Country table also have these many columns. So one way is like we can go through each of the columns and see what all those columns means. But in your real life, there will be multiple of tables, and all of those tables can have 50, 50, 60, 60 columns also. So you would end up your time giving in reading the data only when you will write the query then. Okay. So it says given the city and the country tables. So two tables are given. Even without looking at the tables, you can imagine there is one city table and one is country table. Okay. Query the names of all the cities where continent is Africa. Now, you see city name, country, the names of all the cities. So city name, which is here, right? It lies here. And the continent lies in the country table, right? So both of the column lies in separate tables, right? And we want to get all the names of the cities in which continent is Africa. So we have to join these table in some way. That's only we know because all of both the columns are in different tables. We have to join and bring that information into a single table. Correct. And for a hint, they have given country code in the city, city.country code, and country.code. That means country code in the city and code in the country column are basically the keys, or basically you can use them to join. Okay. Are the matching key columns. Correct. That's it is given. So you have to join these two tables and then take only the rows which have Africa written in it. So if it was only one table, let's say, if it was in here name is there, in here, let's say we have uh, continent column also. What you would have done, you would have selected city where continent is equal to Africa, right? That's what you would have done. Let's say, for example, if both of the columns are in the same table, let's say we have name also and the continent also in the same. So what we would have done is select from city where continent is equal to Africa, and we would have selected only the name. This is what we would have done if if both the columns were there in the same table. But now both of them are on the different tables. Now we have to join somehow. Okay. So in this example, we will be using inner join, and this you will get after some practice that which join you have to use. But let's say in this, we are using inner join. So inner join. So inner join will take what? Column name, table name, right? So in from we have table, and inner join also we have the right table. Right table is what? Country. This is a country table, right? This was the city table, which we already took from the from city. Inner join, right table, which is country. Correct. Now, on what you want to join? Correct. So you are saying SQL, we want to join these two tables, but now SQL is asking you on what columns you want to join. And according to the hint, we have two things: city.country code and country.code. These are the two columns on which are matching key columns. So we can write on, and let's just copy this and paste it here. And instead of and, we'll just write is equal to. Wherever the country code is matching in both of the columns, we want those rows. This is the query which is like every time, every now and then we will be repeating again and again, again and again.
Sir,
Yes.
can you repeat, please?
Yeah, yeah. So even if you don't get it at the very first try, that is fine. I just want you to know like this is how the query will look like. And we'll be using the same query again and again, again and again. Although today we won't be writing much of the joining part, we'll be learning how to add new columns. And then we'll be using add new columns and the joining both, maybe tomorrow. But the joining part looks like this. So let's start it again. I even don't want to write this. So we selected name because we wanted only the name of cities from city. Now we know that the name lies in the city and the continent lies in the next table, right? And in the question, if you see, we want only the rows which have continent is Africa. Only the names of those cities which have continent is Africa. So there should be a join between these two tables. And for join, the next keyword which we use is inner join. After inner join, we pass in the table name. Every time we'll have to pass only the table name. Inner join, table name is country. Right? And although we have said, we have told SQL that these are the two tables we want to join, SQL is now asking us on which columns you want to join. Okay. We have to tell them like which are the two columns which are similar or which are the matching key columns. So in this, its hint was already given. But in your actual question, the hint would not be given also, right? You have to see the data and figure it out, which are the codes. So for example, let's say this hint was not given. You have the country code here. And this also says code, right? So you are, by just looking at the name, you are able to find out, okay, there can be some similarity between these two columns. Now you can actually open these two tables. Open this table and see country code is what? Country code, let's say there will be 3 characters are there. So this whatever bracket inside is there, right? That means 3 characters. 3 characters long country code is there. So if you go into the country, there also 3 are there. And if you open this actual table, you can take the examples also. Let's say ABC is the country code. And if you go here also, if you find ABC, that means again, this is the same matching key column only. So even if we are not given hint, we can actually look at the data ourselves and then we can find out the matching key columns. Let's say we find out the matching key columns is inside city it is the country code, which is this. Inside the country column, it is the code, right? How to tell SQL that which are the 2 key columns? We have to tell on, and then we will say from city, the column name is country code. Correct. We cannot just write country code. Country code can be there in both the tables. So we have to tell SQL that from city, it is the country code, and equal from country, it is the code column. And then we are saying these two should be equal. And then only you should return those values, because matching inner join will mean matching rows, right? Matching will happen only when you put equal. Then after you run this, it will return all the city names if it matches. Even if the continent is America, then also it will return, right? Because you have not put that condition. Next condition is where the continent is Africa. So by the order of execution, it goes from city, it joins the table. It has a big table now, which has every continent in it. Now we just want where continent. And in fact, you should write continent also in such a way that it will tell from which column, because continent can also be there in the city also and the country also. For now, even if you write continent, that is fine because it is only there in one table, but you should write country dot continent is equal to Africa, right? That's wonderful. So we won't be covering any joins until which is what is it? Column name. Okay, sorry. So name also again, name can be there in the country also, name can be there in the city also. So whenever you join, you have to define column names in such a way that you clearly define from which table it is coming. So the name also, it should come from city dot name. And we so like I was saying, we won't be covering more joins today because whatever joins which I have seen questions involves adding new columns. And adding new columns, you need to understand the functions which are available in the SQL. And although why I was confident this will work now is it gave error in the select statement. So was there a possibility that these rows would have ended up in error? Because SQL ran from city, it did not give any error. Inner join, it did not give any error. Where also it did not give any error. In the select statement, it gave error. That means all the previous 3 rows ran fine. Correct? Okay. So I had that Excel open. Okay. So this is the thing which I'm talking about. This is what we will be covering today. We covered it in our earlier sessions also, but then there were few. Uh, it was a new concept. There were few formulas which were very new to you guys. For example, left, right, all those formulas which we were using. It was, it might would have been overwhelming for you guys. So we'll be covering those topics again today, and there will be many new functions which are available. So there are multiple functions which are available. There are, like, let's say for example 200 functions which are already there, right? We cannot go to each and every function and figure out what it is doing. So I'll show you how you can use the documentation and yeah, play around with all those functions. But I'll cover the basics ones or the main ones which are being used. Okay. So this group by is remaining, having is remaining. Let's go to new part. Okay, so the first highly used function is concat. Concat, if you can see the description also, it says adds two or more expression together, right? If my first name is Ashish and my last name is Yadav, if I use concat, it will create one more new column which will say Ashish Yadav. Okay, concat means concatenating multiple strings together. Okay, let's see how you can see the syntax of it. So you can click, I mean, this is W3 Schools. You can use this or you can use any other websites also. If you click on concat, it will say how you can actually use the syntax of concat. And in the first session, I told you like select and from are both mandatory things which you have to use. But that is only in the case when the tables are there. If table are not there, you can actually use SQL as a calculator also. So for example, let me open SQL editor online. Let's say in the select, I do 2 multiplied by 3. It says 6, right? So whatever you write in the select, which is not a column, it will create a new column for you. Okay. I'll write 2 into 3. I can do 5 into 5. It'll make 2 columns. Correct? So we'll be using mostly select statement now. We'll be using that with the tables also, but let's say we have 3 strings, which is SQL tutorial is fun, or 4 strings. How concat is working is we have to open the parentheses or open the brackets. Correct? We can either pass strings or the things which is in double quotation, or we can pass the column names also, right? And separate them with the comma. So my name is, for example, Ashish, and then I put comma and then Yadav, right? This thing is not mandatory, but it is good that you give your new column your names. Let's take this example only. I want to run it here. So let's. So I ran it. I pasted it here. What do you think the result will be? So SQL tutorial is fun. Will be one sentence written, and the column name which will be there will be a concatenated string. Okay, so this doesn't have that function. So let's use LW3 here. So I'm running it here now. So it created one column which is known as concatenated string, and the value in that column is SQL tutorial is fun. Okay, I can write basically anything here. So this is the function concat, C-O-N-C-A-T, brackets. Inside, you have to write things, comma separated. First value which I'm writing is Ashish, comma. So it will just add these two values. Now, if I run, it will add it and it won't give the space. There's no space because there's no space here as well. There are two things which you can do. Either you provide space at the starting here, or you provide space at the here, or you can actually give one more value as a space. You can concatenate any number of strings. Okay, so now the space is there. Correct. Instead of the values here, you can actually pass the column names also. Let me see if there are my SQL. Okay, you can ignore the top part. This is creating the table. I will discuss creating a table also, and this is very easy. If you know this, how to create the table, it is exactly same. I mean, there's no advanced concept in creating the tables. So once I run this query, this has created employee ID, name, and the department in which they work in. Let's say I want to create a new column now here, which will say name, dash, and the department name. Okay. How would I do it? Okay, so they. Okay, so we have three rows in our data: Clark, Dave, and Eva, sales, accounting, and sales. We want to create new column which says name, dash, and the sale and the department in which they are working. Okay, so we will say select from employee. That is fine. Employee is the table name. Then we can put comma and add a new column. And how to do the concatenation? Concat brackets, and whatever values which will pass, it will be a comma separated. First value is name, and this name I should not provide it inside double quotes. This is the column name. Column name is just the name, correct? Comma dash if I have to provide. Dash is this way I have to provide dash. Okay. Third one is department, DEPT. Let's give this name as Okay. You see they have created three: Star dash sales, Dev dash accounting, Eva dash sales. Everyone is with me until now, right? What will happen if I just give this as name? Right. So everywhere in the column, name dash department will come. Name dash sales, name dash accounting, name dash, right? So understood the difference between putting double quotation and using the column name. This is one of the function which we'll be using regularly. Then this is L case. L case or lower. Somewhere is a lower case, also somewhere lower will be there. Lower. L case and lower are the same thing, and it says converts a string to lower case. So if you have a string in which everything is capital, or at least the first word is or first letter is capital, you can use this function to make everything small case or lower case. Let's see how it goes. So L case and just the string which you want to provide. It says L case, or you can use lower also. L case, brackets, and you provide the column name here or the string in the double quotation. And this is the column name which it will create. So at the end, it will create S also small, Q also small, L also small. Everything is small. So it would be small. So you see, SQL tutorial is fun. It's everything is lowercase now. Let's take example in this. So instead of concatenate, let me see new column. Instead of concatenate now, we'll use L case. So it autocorrects also L case. Now we should say name. Right? And if I run now, so see Clark was C was capital, C became smaller. Okay, that's it about the L case. Left, very important function which we have already talked in our earlier classes. It gives leftmost number of strings which you provide. So let's say example. It says left brackets open. SQL tutorial it has passed as a string, and then it says 3. So it wants two parameters. It wants two inputs. One is the column name or the string which you provide, and the second is a numerical value which you will provide. In this case, this is saying only give me the starting 3 letters from the string or from that column. Okay. So in this, only SQL will come. Once I run, only SQL is there. Left, right? Let's take example. Instead of L case, I'll put left now. Again, on the name only, I'll do the analysis. Name is the column name. Second, if I don't give the second parameter, it will give the full name only. Oh. Okay, so it wants the second parameter also. Sometimes in some of the, for example, in MS SQL, if you will do, this won't throw an error, but okay, MySQL, it throws an error. So you provide the column name. Second parameter is how many characters you want from the left of that name. So I want, let's say, only 2 characters. If I run now, you see from Clark only CL came. Here. From Dave only DA came. Ava only AV came. Okay. Any questions? Pretty straightforward, right? Left. All these are used to create new columns only. After left, length. Again, length is also a very highly used function, frequently used function. Length, again, you will write length, length, brackets. You provide your column name or the string name, and it will give you the length, which is, it will count all the characters. So in this SQL 1, 2, 3, space is also a character. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 characters in the string. Let's see what it will give. 12, right? Let's take example. LENGTH. Length, and it only wants one input, not 2 inputs. So we'll only give name. And if we run now, you see Clark has 5, Dave has 4, Eva has 3 letters. So there are 2 functions. One is mid and one is substring. Both work same, but mid, it might not be there in the other SQL. But substring is there in almost all of the SQL tools which we have. Let's see what mid is. So you know how to start with left, and it will always start from the left side. Right? My name is Ashish. If I want only 3 letters, it will only start, it can only start from A. It cannot start with S. It will start with A, it will take 1 S, second H, third. So it will give ASH. Okay, what if I want SHI? Right? Starting from the second letter if I want, then how to do it? So for that, we use mid or substring. I'll tell you the substring also. It will be there here also. But let's try with R. So what this says is mid. Again, you pass your column name or the string. Then it wants 2 more parameters. So in total, it wants 3 inputs. Second input is from where it should start. So it is saying it should start with 5. So S is 1, Q is 2, L is 3, space is 4, T is 5. Right? So it starts from T of tutorial. And then it will give 3 characters after that. So it will give TUT. So it gives TUT. Okay. Instead of that, let's see if we. Okay. So instead of mid, I want you guys to use SUBSTR. It means substring, part of a string you want, right? Instead of mid, we would be using substring, SUBSTR. Either you write substring like this, or like this also it will work. This is also fine. Either you write SUB_str, either you write mid, either you write substring. All of them will work. Okay, so let's take one example. So from the department, now I want the letters starting from second and the three letters, let's say. So what we will write now here, SUB_str brackets. Then we have to pass in the column name, which is department. Second input is from where you want to start. I want to start it from the second. And how many characters I want? 3 characters, let's say. 3 characters. Now if I run, you see ALE from sales will come. CCO from here and ALE from. Correct? Let's see now. So you see SUB_str is here, SUB_string is also here. Both of them do the same thing. Extract the substring from string starting at any position, extract the substring from string starting at any position. Okay. Mid also is the same. Extract the substring from string starting at. So if there is a L case, there is an uppercase also. Either you write upper or U case. Right? So U case, what it will do is everything it will make in a capital letters. It will just want only one information, which is a column name or a string. We run now. Everything will become capital letters. Let's do quick example. Instead of substring, we'll use U case and pass in our department column. Everything becomes uppercase. Upper is also same. Okay. Replace is also one of the functions which is frequently used. This also will take 3 inputs. First input is again the column name or the string. Second input is so first of all, what does replace do? Replace wants to replace something in your column or the string which you provide. So I want to replace SQL with HTML. This SQL will be replaced with HTML. First parameter is what thing which you want to replace, or the first input is what thing which you want to replace. The other input is you want to replace it with what. Now the answer will become HTML tutorial. Correct? Let's say one example. Replace. Now, whenever we are getting any A, I want to, let's say, replace it with B. Right? In department. Let's say department will remain same. I'll say A. Replace it with B. Okay, so now you will notice one interesting thing. So capital A was replaced with B, but small a is not replaced. Correct? Because anything which you type in inside double quotation is case sensitive. Department can be like this. Department can be like this. But whatever you type in inside double quotation is case insensitive. Case sensitive. Anyone have a question?
Yes, sir. So what if you want to replace both uppercase and lowercase?
Yeah. So now someone has a question: if what if we want to replace both uppercase and the lowercase, right? So in this, only one at one time we can replace one thing. Let's say now if we want to replace or we want to create a new column, we can do one more thing, one more replace. Now instead of taking department, we'll take new column because we would be taking from values from here now, right? And now instead of doing replacing the upper ones, we'll replace the lower ones. Correct? As new column 2. Okay. This won't take it like this. Let's see if we can. Okay, so this is one concept which it is not happening here. So what it is doing is it is not creating the new column first. If it creates a new column first, only then we can use the new column again. So if you want to replace the lowercase as well and the uppercase, so there is a concept known as CTE or the substring. We have to be very sure that this new column is created, and then only we will be able to modify this new column again. Okay. So hold on for this. I mean, who was that who asked it?
It's me, Debasmita.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll get back to you on this once we are on the substring or a CTE part,
Sure, sir.
right? But for now, replace can only replace. We can replace bunch of characters together. No, I didn't understand your question. Any full word? Yeah, full word also you can change. So if accounting, you want to change it to, let's say, yeah. So let's say for accounting, so we had sales, accounting, and sales, right? So you want to change, for example, if this accounting letter to be, so that's what. Yes, instead of that, we can give the correct word here. But full word also we can change. Full word we can change it to anything else here. Okay. Let me just do one trial. What we wanted was A. And instead of doing this, no. Yeah, so we can only do only one thing at a time. But I'll get back to you like if how to do it, two things at once. Okay, so right now we were only doing modifications on the string or the text columns, right? What if we want to do analysis on our numerical columns, or we want to create new numerical columns? The basic one about the fine, we were just doing multiplication. 2 into 2, we are doing 4. That is fine. But if we want to do little bit advanced concepts, right? So for example, let's go with the seal part. This is also frequently used. Seal means if you have a number, let's say 25 point something, right? If it is even 25.01 or 25.1, sealing means the seal, right? Upper. So if it is 25.1, it becomes 26. If it is 20.9 also, it will become 26. Okay. It will become 26. Right. So at times it will happen that you might be asked, like, convert this column to the highest integer possible, right? So if you have numbers like 25 point decimal places, you want to convert that to integer and a ceiling integer. So you just use ceiling and then pass that column. You can pass columns also inside this instead of just a number, right? Do we have number in that? Decimal places are not here, but yeah, you get the gist what I was saying, right? You can use seal or ceiling both. Absolute will mean if it is something is in negative, then it will be make it in positive. So if you have minus 200 something, whatever value, it will create it in positive 243.5. Right? ABS is the function. Right? ABS brackets. If it is positive, then it will remain positive. Right? It won't change it to negative again. Absolute in mathematical terms means the positive value, right? Okay. Then the opposite of ceiling is floor. Floor means if a value, again 25.75, it will change it to the lower integer. It will change it to 25. Let's try it. It will become 25. Easy. Date function. So date functions are kind of complicated ones. We'll go through them once we get those types of questions. But there are few functions known as min or max, right? And for that, you actually min, max, sum, or average, all those things. So, for example, average is there, right? You cannot take an average of just one number, right? That doesn't make much sense. So, for functions like average, minimum, maximum, sum, you want multiple values, correct? And for multiple values, you can only take the columns. Full column you can take. So if I want to do max, let's say here only, I will remove star also. Okay. I want to take max of employee ID. Right? It should give me 3. Right? So max of employee ID, and then if I run, it will give me 3. Okay, so all those functions, max, minimum, sum, average, these are known as aggregated functions. Aggregate functions. So it will change your table to a single value. Okay, so that's why I did not use star here. Otherwise, if I use star, and then if I run, it will throw an error. Because all the aggregated functions which you use here can be used. I mean, if you want other columns also, it should be used by a group by statement, which we will talk afterwards why group by is needed. But if you want to use, and if you want to get only one value out of your table, for example, table was this was our table, and I want only one value out of that table, which is the maximum of the employee ID. That's how I will write it, max of employee ID. I can write minimum also, min, and it will give me what? 1. Full table will change into one value. Okay. I can give sum also. In this sum, 3 plus 2 plus 1, 6, it will come. 6. I can give average also. Average, you will find one interesting thing. Which is fine, right? But it will give 2.0000 thing, because average can come in decimal places. Next, minimum, maximum, sum, average. Okay, so then there is one function which is known as round also. So you had ceiling, you had a floor, which will give you the ceiling, which will give you the upper integer, floor will give you the lower integer. But round is basically the basic maths. If it is 0.5, then it will give you the upper integer. If it is less than 0.5, it will give you the lower integer. So if it is 135.3, it will give 135. If it is 135.5 or more than that, then it will give 136. So 135.3. Okay, so we have given, it takes another input also, which says how many decimal places you want. Okay, so let's remove that. Let's see if we can run it without that. Yeah. Let's do it without, because that is an optional parameter, optional input. So if I do just round and if I give only one input, it will say 135.3 and it will round it to 135. Correct. If I do 135.5, it will give 136. Okay, this is basic maths which you would have learned. Then there is an optional parameter which will tell you how many decimal places you want. So if I want, let's say, only one decimal place, right? What should be the answer for this? So you might say 135.5. I mean, that is incorrect. Why? Because let's say if I want only until here, right? So this is 7 after that. So this 7 will make this 5 as a 6. 135.6. Let's say if I have 40, what will be the number here then? 135.135.68. 58, not 68. because 5 will remain like this, and 7 it will check whether it will want to round or not. Okay, my bad also. That is about round. What else? Power you can use, you would be using sometime, but power, let's say there's a mathematical term, right? 2 to the power 2 is 4. 2 to the power 3 is 6. 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2, right? So either we do that. So if I want 2 to the power 10, you can actually 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2, like that you can write. But there's an easy way to that also. There's a power function, power, then 4 to the power 2. It takes 2 input separated by comma, 4 to the power 2. And all these inputs can be columns also, right? So 4 to the power 2 is 16. These are the basic functions. I mean, you can go through each one of them, but I hardly think you would be using all of them. In string, yes. So when input, right? When I say input, it only takes numerical input. If I give something like ABC or something like that, it will throw error. Or maybe it is giving 0, but it should throw error. Because there's nothing known as AX to the power 2. Okay. I have to give only those values which are numerical.
What is the difference between exponent and power?
Exponent and power. Okay, so exponent is only basically the power only, right? So this 2 is the power and this 4 is the exponent. Correct? That was the question someone asked. Okay. So in mathematical terms, we write e to the power x. X goes above e, right? So e is the exponent, x is the power. In here, 4 is the exponent, 2 is the power. Okay, so these are the functions which we'll be using continuously again and again, again and again. So I wanted to take this one class in order to explain you all these functions which are available. Because last time when I took, I saw blank faces and no one was able to understand what is left, what is right, all those things. Oh, right, we did not cover, right? So there's a function known as right also. Right also, like left, it will take 2 inputs. One is column and one is how many characters you wanted from the right. What? Okay, sorry, implied name. Okay, so the last 3 characters are in the class is ARK, AVE, and Ava was 3 characters long only. So it will give Ava. All right, so this covers right also. So we covered main topics are right, left, length, right? Substring is the most commonly used function which will be used. So with that, now we know how to create new columns. From next class onwards, we'll be solving the joins and plus adding new columns questions. Okay. So for tomorrow class, it's only questions which we'll be solving in hacker rank only. You want me to go through those questions which we solved again? We can go through again, but I want you guys to try yourself. I guess until 12 or 13 questions which we did was pretty basic. I mean, you guys can also do it from your end. If not, then we'll do it again tomorrow, right? And we'll solve joint questions as well. So one example of joint question will be, let's see if you guys can be able to do it. Okay, given the city and country, query the sum of the populations of all the cities where continent is Asia. Okay, so only the sum of population is a different part which came new. Okay, and sum is the thing which will convert your table into a single value. But then in this we want to query the sum of population. Only one value we want, right? We don't want a table now. We want our table to be changed to a one value, which is the sum of population. So let's start creating it. So let's say we do select. We don't write anything for now. In from, we write city. Now they want to sum the population. So population is in city table, continent, and where the continent is Asia. So continent is in country. There. So we have to join them. And joining, they have given us the hint. Country code is the matching key column. So from city, inner join, again the table name which we have to provide. Table name is country, and on which columns you want to join. So you have to provide on city dot country code is equal to country dot code. Right. So this step is the same step which we'll be writing again and again. Now we have wrote inner join now. Correct. Now they want only the continent which is in Asia. So what we can do, where country or continent? Continent, right? Country dot continent, correct. Country dot continent is equal to Asia. Correct. So until now, you will have the table. So let's see what the table is. It will throw error, but let's see what the table is. So this syntax is fine, right? The third line. Third line is basically the join which we'll be using. Just the starting part will change. Inner join can change to left join, can change to right join. Right join, we won't be using any time. This is right join is basically same as the left join with the table interchange, right? So this will change to left join, inner join, and full outer join as the cases arise. But most commonly used ones are inner join or the left join. What our table work now here is, this is our table. So our output is, so there are many columns, right? There are columns like 4, which is ID. Then name is, this one is name. AFG is the country code. Then this is the district. Then the population is this, right? But we wanted only one number, which will sum up all these population. This population, this is the population, this is the population. All those population will be summed up. So instead of selecting star, we want sum, and sum of what? Population. Just population, city dot population. Okay, so any doubts? So we'll be solving in a joins part and the new columns part all together in tomorrow's session. Only the questions. No new concepts tomorrow. Only the questions. Okay. This is the one. Okay. That's it for today's class. Tomorrow, everyone should bring laptop and we'll be solving, because if you just take notes, that won't help. You have to solve along with me. Okay. Any questions online, people? I guess no. I'll be stopping this recording. I'll be sharing this.